Hey everyone, this is Mike,
And this is Josh. And
and
this
we
is
are
Must
Must
See
See Before You
Before
Die.
You Die. So today's movie review we're doing is called The Witch. And it's from 2015. It is rated R for a good reason. This is actually a movie that when you watch it, you're like, okay, I understand why this is rated R.
Right.
Some of these you watch, you're like, why is this rated R again? But this one definitely you understand why it's rated R. And the Rotten Tomatoes score, Mike, got it right here handy?
Yep.
Okay, it looks like it's a 90% with critics and a 60% with audiences. Pretty high score, I would say. I tend to be more with the critics on this one. I'm not as high as the critics on it, but yeah, I think it's a good movie. What do you think about this score, Mike?
I can see why the critics really like it because it's definitely different. It's not your typical horror movie,
Right.
thriller movie. It does take you back, early in time and the Puritans. It's a little different. I mean, you hadn't seen many movies like this. I did not realize I'd seen The Lighthouse before, and I didn't realize this was the same. This actually came out before The Lighthouse, but it's got the same director.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, I'm kind of right. I'm right there in between the tomato meter and the audience score. So
Yeah, I would say
I'll
same.
save mine to the very end.
Right, that's right. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the synopsis, Mike.
Yeah. So it says the witch. The film synopsis is in 1630 New England. Panic and despair envelops a farmer, his wife, and their children when youngest son Samuel suddenly vanishes. The family blames Thomason, the oldest daughter, who was watching the boy at the time of his disappearance, and this was like a baby. Just off the top of your head here. The
Right.
family blames. Okay, I already said that. With suspicion and paranoia mounting, twin siblings Mercy and Jonas suspect Thomason of witchcraft, testing the clan's faith, loyalty, and love to one another.
Yeah. Well, see, I think like nowadays something like this wouldn't fly. But like back then, people were like, "Oh, witchcraft and you're doing this and that and all this." So it was like running high back then anyway, with all this. And yeah, they were actually banished by the pilgrims or whatever. I don't know what you call them, but for being too righteous or whatever have you. But I did enjoy this movie. The witch character in this, because there's actually a witch character. Later we find out there's actually lots of them out in the woods, not just one. But yeah, doesn't hardly show you a lot of it, which I like that, Mike. I like that it doesn't just show you a lot of the witch character. There's a lot of mystery to everything. Man, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of really cool shots of this movie. And it's like they just went to the woods somewhere, Mike, and just started filming, in my opinion. That's like
Yeah,
it felt like
I
that to
think
me.
I saw somewhere, and this is kind of going underneath our thoughts and our likes and dislikes, by the way,
Right.
the next area here. I like the way that they went back, the director went back to, he made everything as authentic as he could to this time period of the 1600s. They did not have any light, I'd heard. And so all the filming in it they didn't have any, bright lights like I got shown on me and back here. They didn't have anything like that. So it's candlelight and daytime. And the dark woods itself was just really the dark woods. They didn't throw a bunch of lighting up. So I like the way the director went back and made things simple and went back and he just made the whole woods. And for that time period, the Bible and witches and the devil,
Right.
he used that to prey on your senses as a viewer.
Right.
And, basically scare the crap out of you.
Yeah. No, yeah. I want to kind of go through the characters real quick, though, Mike, because there's not a lot of them. That's also what I like about this movie. Very small cast, and it's only the family. So I'm going to go through these characters, Mike. You got the oldest daughter. Her name is Thomason. And I think we said it before. I don't know if we said this, but the dialect, they're using dialect from 1630. So some of it can be hard to understand, in my opinion. And, Mike, I think, felt the same way. But it's very early English, so it is a little hard to understand. But the oldest daughter's name's Thomason. That's the person that they're suspecting's a witch, though she's not. Though she's just an innocent girl. Then you got the next oldest sibling, which is the brother. He's probably like what, 12 years old, Mike, probably. She's like 14. He's like 12.
Yep.
Then you got Mercy and Jonas, who are both like 6, I think, probably. And then you got the youngest baby, which his name's Samuel. And then you got the father, which his name's William, and the mother's name's Catherine. And that's the cast, Mike,
Yep.
of this movie. So I thought they all did a pretty good job acting in this movie, especially talking the way they did. I mean, you believe that they were characters from this time period, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are some things? I talked a little bit about things I liked about the movie. So
Yeah.
What are some things you disliked about the movie?
I'll say that, like I said, the dialect is not necessarily a dislike, but it is hard to understand some of it sometimes. I can't say. I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot I dislike about the movie. I mean, no, there's not. There's really not. I think the twins can be annoying at times, characters, but they're like young kids, so they're gonna be like, you know what I mean? So I really don't have a lot of dislikes, Mike. What are some of yours?
The biggest dislike for me probably was the language, which I understand them, trying to get to the same language of that time period. It was very thick, and me and my wife was watching it. We were asking, "What'd they say? What'd they say?" We're trying to pick up on what they were saying because it was very thick. Some parts of it was loud and some was low. Them talking in the movie, so it was. I had to go back and rewind it some. There's a lot of metaphors in this movie. A lot of you see a bunny in here and you're like, was that a rabbit or is it a witch or is it you're trying to figure all this stuff out the whole time, which that is kind of alike too, because at the end of it, it kind of comes together.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't have a ton of dislikes. I think it was a solid movie. I don't want to give
one of the things that I really liked is the music and the sounds and stuff that they use in this movie. It can be very unsettling, the music and stuff they use. Like there's this one part where the witch, this is a review of the movie. The witch kills the baby like right away in the movie, like very early on, like straight just murders it. And then she's like mashing it in this thing to get the blood and all that. Because she like puts it on her body to make her younger or something. I don't know what it does. But it like they just keep making that noise with the music and it just goes on and it's just like God. Like it's unsettling in my opinion. And there's other parts of the movie. But
this is one just ahead of time. This is one that if you have a younger child and you're like, oh, they can handle the horror movies and stuff like that. I don't know that this is one you'd really want them to watch because I don't know whatever the viewers believe spiritually. Maybe you don't believe anything spiritually, but there's a lot of deep conversation in this about the Bible and what people believe in heaven and hell. And then in most horror movies, you don't see children get killed. And you got several in this one where there's 2 you don't know what ever really happens to them, but 2 you do know what happens to. And it could bring up some awkward conversations with your kids. There is some nudity in it. So, just be mindful of that if you got kids and you're thinking, well, my 12-year-old can watch this. I had to have my 12-year-old cover his eyes quite a bit because there was some stuff in here that I didn't want him to see.
That part was sick, man, where that crow was picking at that lady's boob.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was sick. And there's a character in this that we didn't mention. His name's Black Phillip, and he's the goat of it. And the twins like keep saying that they're talking to Black Phillip, and everybody's like, just be quiet.
Yeah, I think it's just
they were really talking to Black Phillip. And I think Black Phillip actually, Mike, talked to them and then had them keep accusing her of being a witch and all this. And that's what led to all the paranoia and all that, Mike. I really do believe that. So the goat does turn out to be the devil.
We've kind of spoiled a lot of this for you guys already, but I mean, we're talking. I mean, we do. We talk about the movie,
right?
One thing I thought was a little bit confusing at the end was when she is talking to the goat back, what's his name? Black Phillip, whatever his name
Black
was.
Phillip.
She's talking to him, and then all of a sudden he walks behind her like he's a person. And then you hear like some jingling of his boots. And then the next thing they show she gets naked completely and they walk towards the woods, but he's back to being the goat again.
You're right.
So I was like, what is, this Black Phillip do? I'd like to just seen at that point him just be a person, in the form of a devil or whatever it was, and just him leading her through the woods. But
he said
again, that's just my interpretation of it.
Yeah, and I thought the other stuff was good, where the son was questioning things about religion, like my brother's in hell. The way you taught me to believe, that means my brother's in hell right now, and the dad really didn't have a lot of response to that,
right?
Huh?
Yep, I had to have that same conversation with my son during this movie, so it does bring up some things.
I was like Anthony, wait, see, it's just like. Well, the son was right though, Mike. The way that he taught him, the baby's in hell. So it's like, well, when things happen, it's hard to explain other things, because it's like, wait a minute, like even the son at his young age was like, you told me this, and then this happened, so that means and then even the mother kept saying that. She said that. Well, she said our baby's in hell. The mother said that. So. Obviously, they believe that. And there was also some deceit with the father and the mother. Remember, he stole something and sold it to the Native Americans for a gun and stuff. And but yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie. Even though there's a limited cast, there is a lot going on in this movie.
The paranoia. This is another one of those where the paranoia will kill you, and that's kind of what it did with the family.
Yeah.
I want to say this real quick, and then we'll go to our favorite kills. I do think I can't remember the actor's name, the little boy, the 12-year-old. He has a scene at right before he dies in the movie.
Yep.
And I'd heard or seen that he did that in one take. And it is an awesome job of acting, much less from a 12-year-old standpoint.
Yep.
The acting in this movie was excellent. I thought it was really, really good.
Very
and
good
that 12-year-old boy to pull that kind of line off, or all the kids with the thick accent that they had, but him to basically, this scene is he's like talking to the JC himself, Jesus Christ, but he's like saying all this stuff, and it's an awesome job.
Yeah,
and then I heard later on that he did that in one take. There was no multiple takes on that.
Yeah, it was great. I thought that was a great scene. I want to talk about one more thing I like about this movie, Mike. The ending is really cool, in my opinion. She goes to this woods, and you realize that she sees this fire, and there's all these naked women around it. Probably I'd say 5 to 8 women. I couldn't tell exactly, but Black Phillip leads her there, and she sees all these women just chanting and blah blah blah, and then she goes over there. And she sees the women just start to rise in the air into the trees. And then she does. And I wrote here, this girl has never been more happy in her entire life. She was just feeling all the joy of everything at that moment. And that's how the movie ends. And it's pretty unsettling, because she's into that now. And she'll be doing that or whatever they're doing. But she's part of that. I don't know if you call it a coven or whatever it is. But yeah, so she, I who knows if she would have been led down that path if her parents and stuff didn't treat her the way they did over everything. You know what I mean? Who knows? Mike, who knows what would have happened? But yeah, I did like the ending. I thought it was pretty cool.
So there wasn't a lot of kills in this, Josh. What was your favorite kill?
I'm gonna have to say the baby. Samuel, he got mushed up into a thing, and yeah, I'm gonna have to say that, Mike. It was sick, but it was probably the best, even though they don't show it being killed, obviously.
Yeah, I think my favorite was when the father got hit by the goat. I've never seen that before. I know some other things I've watched that said that was their favorite kill as well, but what was ironic about it was he got stabbed by this goat with its horns.
Yeah.
And then he could have shot the thing, and he didn't. And the goat came out and finished him off. But throughout the whole movie, he's chopping wood. And I told my wife the whole time, I said, something has to do with this chopping wood. Either he's going to kill the family with an axe, or something's going to happen. And then what happens is the wood pile falls on top of him and kills him, crushes him after he's been stabbed by the goat. So
that's right.
That was my favorite. Okay, so at a score of 1 to 5 on I don't know how we're gonna do that. Maybe axis, because there was an axe in there a lot. I don't know.
Black Phillips.
Yeah, how many goats would you give this?
I'm gonna say a 3.5, Mike.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 Black Phillips.
Okay. So mine is going to be probably more towards the audience on the rotten score. 3 is average for me, so I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
It was a little bit hard to understand, and that's my fault, I guess, for being a little slow with a thick accent. But I would give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay, solid, man. Yeah, like I said, I recommend watching this though if you haven't. Like I said, some of the music, some of the imagery is very unsettling, in my opinion. So just know that. But the stylization of the movie is super cool, like Mike said. I mean, when they're shooting in a house, it's with candlelight, in my opinion, because that's what it looks like. So I mean, it's super cool. So I definitely recommend seeing it.
All right, so please like, subscribe to Must See Before You Die channel. You clicked on this and you're watching it right now. If you stuck around with us this long, hey, stick around with us all the time. Hit that like and subscribe, bell notification. Also, check us out on Must See Before You Die horror community. We like to post about movies coming out, movie reviews. We got a small team over our small group of people, but we're growing daily. So check that out as well on Facebook. Just look up Must See Before You Die horror community.
Yes.
All right, Josh. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye.